Hello, my friends, my returning viewers and new viewers that have come to see this video, whatever the title may be at this point. I'm not really even sure. But the point of the video today will be to showcase that I am swapping the preamp from here, which is now controlling the BuckEye Audio A10s. And I'm going to be transplanting the preamp into my other room and then giving it a sound demo and listening to what I can think of, like what I can hear, what my perception of the sound changes versus the preamp that I had in my other room. As of right now, if it's not obvious to some of my returning viewers, I did sell the preamp that I have, so the Rotel is no longer in my system. And I will be disconnecting and relocating the preamp in this room, sort of on camera, and I'm going to try to do it as best and smooth as possible here. I haven't really planned out a lot of my shots, but we're going to see how it goes. And I'm just going to disconnect the preamp from the system here, sort of on camera. You'll be able to see a little bit of what I'm doing, but not all the way. I need a nice point and shoot camera for everything. But yeah, let's see what we can get up to here. I'm going to disconnect it, power down, and then move it to the other room. So first things first is I'm going to power this one off, power the DAC off. I'm going to turn off the power for this one. I have a power bar, which is powering this one. I'm going to disconnect that. After that, I'm going to remove the RCA cables from the DAC on this side, leave them connected here, and then I need to isolate the power for this one, this cable. And then the XLR cables can come out for the bookshelves. I'm going to leave them in location because I will be putting this one back. So yeah, we have our left and right. And there we have it. Basically the topping L70 Pre Amp with the RCA ins, XLR outs, XLR ins, and I'm going to be using the XLR ins and outs because I have subwoofers, and I'm hoping that it's going to allow me to run both outputs simultaneously, and that's what we're going to be testing today. So, without further ado, let's bring this into my other room. This is essentially the shots that I was planning. See, from this side, I'm going to set up the camera this way, and I have a camera on the other side that will record the movements and the things that I have to do. Okay, so first things first, this will need to be plugged in via power. Now let's place this one down here. This is where I will be editing back and forth between my cameras, whichever shot is best. So right now I'm going to turn this one this way so we can plug all that stuff in. Need to find power on this side. I can't see what I'm doing there. Actually, let's flip this camera so I can't see what I'm doing. And pan down to see the system. Not everybody needs to see what's going on, and my face doesn't need to be in there. Okay, so we're going to connect power on this side. I'm going to use my surge protector here. Okay, so we've got power. That's good. Now, the signal that I've been using, the streaming signal that I've been using, is from the Weem Pro Plus, which was running coaxial into my Rotel system. Now, this preamp, obviously, we can see here on this other camera, this only has balanced inputs and RCA inputs. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the RCA outputs on the Weem Pro Plus, and we are going to connect the RCA cables that were already connected to the RCA out, which we can't really see here. Let's see line outputs. So there we go. There's the line outputs for streaming. And I'm going to move it kind of into position with a little bit of an angle. Some of these cables are a little bit shorter, and that's the best we can do. Now, I'm not going to get any other inputs there. There's optical input, which I can connect my CD player via optical if I want to, but for right now, we're going to skip that. And now on the preamp side, I want to connect my outputs. I'm going to guess at this point because I didn't actually label these. These are just raw cables kind of left on the surface. Okay, and the same thing with the subwoofer outputs. These don't have a left and right per se, but we're going to connect these up. So there, everything is connected. XLR, RCA, RCA inputs. Now we're going to be using the DAC inside the Weem Pro Plus. And so far as I know, this should already be powered up and ready to go. So I'm going to use my other camera here. This is a new camera. This is the action camera. So there we have the unit all plugged in. RCA ins, RCA cables out for the subs, XLR cables for the power amps, and it's all powered up and ready to go. Not bad stuff. We'll see how this goes. I think this camera is actually pretty good for a lot of stuff. Let's set up this camera at the back of the room and capture everything that's kind of going on, and we'll go from there. Okay, now back to the first person view. Swap cameras here to the other one that I was using. Now we've got everything connected. Such an amateur video. A lot of people are going to be like at this point thinking, "What are you doing, bro?" Well, I'm doing my best, and this is what I got to give. And I don't feel like too much editing, even though I'm probably going to have to edit through most of this stuff. Now, I was mentioning I do need to get a optical cable from the CD player into the Weem Pro Plus, which does have optical inputs. If I can switch this around for a second. There are RCA inputs, which goes through a process of in and out, and maybe I could use the RCA outs on my CD player. Probably not want to do that. And then optical in and out, so I probably do optical from the CD player and let the DAC inside the Weem Pro Plus, which is I believe the Weem Pro Plus is an AKM set of DACs, so that's pretty cool. So we're going to just power that on. We'll leave this here. Now I do have a remote for this one, but I didn't bring it in the room right now. So what we're going to do is power on the amps first in my secret power sequence. So I have a power bar controlling each side, and I set up my lights. I did this in a previous video if anybody's curious. And if I didn't mention it enough times, this is the topping L70 Pre Amp that I'm using for this process. XLR outputs, and we've got the BuckEye amps and SB1000 Pro subs and the Arendal 1723 THX towers. I can't reach the other way. All right. Power bars, lights, sort of the same setup every week to keep this consistent. Okay, now everything's kind of plugged in. I'm going to need my phone. That's the one thing I forgot to get this time around. This will be the controller for the Spotify app. And of course, something to drink. We can't forget the something to drink. And we can turn This main light off. Yeah, still bright enough. I can appreciate a little bit of light change. Okay, let's flip this camera. And let's see what this sounds like right off the jump. And we'll get that right in front of me. Flip this. Oh, I don't have my wide angle lens on there today. All right. So let's do it this way. Sit back with me here. There we go. We get everything in the shot. Now on this camera, what can we see? Let's shift the view a little bit. There we go. I don't know how much of that's actually going to register. Two cameras at once. I'm going to be flipping back and forth. We're going to see what happens. Sweating through my shirt over here. Okay, start up Spotify. Connect to Riddler, which is what I call... Everything in the house has got Batman names. So that's essentially what's going on there. Okay, I don't have a remote for the preamp. That's going to be a problem. So let me pause and edit this section out. Why I don't have a remote? Duh. Okay, I'll be right back. That took way longer than I expected it to. I haven't even unwrapped the remote. Okay, let's actually plug in the batteries for the remote for this thing, because I haven't even done that yet. Unbelievable planning. That's what happens with an ADHD mind. I can get everything going, but of course it affects all the lights in the room. That's amazing. All the lights are on the same frequency. Off. And that was just from the power. Fantastic. Okay, so what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to sacrifice a little bit, is turn the lights on. This is the adventures that we go through. The first thing that I will say, if that preamp is on, I absolutely hear nothing. There's no sound coming through that at all. And that's because it's on different input. C1, do I not have a selector? Pre, yes. RCA. Okay, so that's weird. It shows that it's playing, but I don't hear any sound. So that's interesting. Let's see if I can't figure this out. If something blows up on me, then it'll be on camera. Okay, I don't hear any sound. I have RCA inputs. I think I know what the issue is. Let's see. In the software for Weem, there is a section for output. Now, I think that I have the output selected as audio output is selected as coax. So let me turn the volume way down. Shouldn't be that much. I'm going to switch to line out. Okay, so my subs are working, but XLR isn't working. So let's see if I can change that. RCA, RCA. So the first thing, I figured it out. There is a setting on the preamp that has RCA out, XLR out, or all out, and that's what I changed. So the first thing that I got to do is I'm gonna pause the music. I'm looking like Randy, the cheap audio man, with my hands in the air, being all dramatic, and there's no sound. I don't hear any static. I don't hear any hissing. Nothing. Already, I can say that this preamp, this $400 preamp, using RCA ins and XLR outs, is already sounding better than my Rotel. Just for the virtue that, let me turn this camera around. Just based on the fact that it has an absolutely low noise floor. I don't hear any sound variations coming from it at all. So let's enjoy some of the copyright-free music. Bring this in so we get to see a little bit more of the app and gestures. So, okay, what's going on with the Weem Pro Plus? So I'm opening up my Weem app. You can see here on camera. So right now, what I had to do to get everything running right is change from coax out to line out, and then the output is maxed at 2 volts. Now I can change that based on like noise floor or anything like that, but right now actually it's giving me way more way more sound output than is the DAC that I'm using in the other room. Let me just unlock the screen on my phone here. Okay, cool. So what I'm getting essentially is I'm getting way more output power from the Weem Pro Plus at 2 volts into the preamp, which is then in turn able to produce more output on my system side, which is amazing. And I didn't expect that at all, but that's what I was doing to try and get everything to work. Now I'm just running Spotify into the device and copyright music. So that's amazing. The other really cool thing about this system, and let me switch. The preamp here has really nice clicking sounds when you turn the volume up. And down. So that's pretty good. It's a step ladder attenuation for the volume, and I gotta say, I'm actually really impressed with this. Because I'm only really listening to one source at a time, and I can actually use the Weme Pro Plus to control everything as a DAC, I think this is gonna actually work out pretty good. So I'm pleasantly surprised that this worked out as well as it did. So, I mean, I don't have a whole lot else to say in terms of video, because that's essentially everything that I wanted to showcase. The preamp worked out very, very well. It sounds fantastic. I'm really, really happy with the fact that it performs well. It actually sounds just about better than my my Rotel did at the same, you know, in the same settings, because there we go. It's very surprising actually that it actually sounds that great. No sound in the background. Background noise is absolutely zero. I mean, aside from the fact that my remote control controls the lights in here too, I think it sounds great. I think it's really, really nice. I think I'm just noticing that one of my towers is leaning quite hard to the left. Could also be that the towers are also leaning back into the room. But anyways, that's amazing. I'm thrilled with that. Thank you all for watching the video today and following along with this preamp series. I'm going to call this Preamps Part 3. I don't know, what is he doing in Glorious Bastards? Is it this or is it this? I don't remember. 3. I think he does this, and this is the wrong way. This is the German way. Anyways, it has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. ADHD. That's just randomness. So anyways, let me get into my closing pose. This is this has been part 3. Thank you for joining my journey in terms of preamp learning, discovery. I mean, I've had this preamp in my system now and it's running my BuckEye audios, but what I'm noticing now is the voltage level coming from my Weme Pro Plus at 2 volts is actually much higher than the DAC output on my E30 Mark II topping DAC. Now I might have to go into the settings and find out what the voltage level there is, because what I'm hearing on the output from my system out there is way, way, way quieter, and the preamp is turned up much higher than it is in here. Right now the system is dialed up to what looks like -43, and in the living room on the other system it's normally at about -27, which means the preamp is way higher than normal, and I think maybe that's why it's so hot all the time. There's so much voltage power going into the preamp trying to get that signal high that it's actually heating itself up, trying to put out that much power closer to its max. Anyways, I'm learning something new here, and I'm actually really surprised that this little $400-500 preamp with balanced inputs and RCA inputs and all outputs, including subwoofer outputs that I can use, phenomenal, absolutely amazing, topping L70. Really good experience. Stay tuned for part 4, 5, and my continued journey with preamps, because I'm going to try to get some interviews with some people about preamps and see if they can talk their minds, speak their minds about what preamps are. And I've heard a lot of feedback from people saying that preamps are really the brains of the system. If you get the preamp right, then a lot of other stuff can be attenuated and tuned in such a way. So really, I'm learning a lot right now that I probably should have known a long time ago in terms of tuning and synergy with my system and what to buy and what's important. Going separates and my Rotel having the DAC and everything built in, that was a first experience. Now I know I may be way behind the curve, but everybody's curve is different, right? Guys, you know that it's all different. Shh. Next time, I'm going to be at the EQ Audio store in Barrie, Ontario. My previous video in the preamp series, I was talking about that. So they're going to have Audio Group Denmark, and they're going to have a bunch of different systems set up there. So I'm going to see if I can get some sneak peeks of some preamps in that location. And then following that, I may have a big surprise coming in from Hagel. Now, I'm going to say what it is, but a lot of people have been recommending me in comments what to check out by Hagel. So if you've watched the previous videos, then you'll kind of know what's going on there. The comments tells the story, and if you add to the comments, I'd really appreciate it. But I am going to get to listening to the system today, enjoy my Saturday, and I'll see all of you in the next video. Take care.